Today's story, The Vault of Secrets. We have also added this story to our playlist where you can find all our channel stories at one place for your convenience. The storm battered the old manor with unrelenting force. The heavy rain and howling wind amplifying the sense of foreboding that had settled over Fiona Caldwell. She had inherited the manor from her estranged uncle, Oliver Caldwell, a man known for his eccentricity and reclusive nature. Despite its once stately charm, the manor now seemed to exude a palpable sense of menace. Fiona was in the study, sifting through an array of old books, dusty manuscripts, and odd trinkets that her uncle had accumulated over the years. Among them, she found a peculiar, weathered journal, its leather cover cracked and its pages yellowed with age. Her uncle's handwriting filled the pages, but one line caught her attention: "The vault is hidden where the darkness hides." Fiona frowned, trying to make sense of the cryptic message. What vault was her uncle referring to? Her thoughts were abruptly interrupted by a sudden, loud crash from the floor above. Her heart raced, and she froze. The manor was supposed to be empty except for her. Determined to investigate, Fiona grabbed a flashlight from the desk drawer and ventured into the dimly lit corridor. The old wooden floors creaked under her weight as she moved cautiously. The noise had come from the upper floors. As she climbed the grand staircase, her flashlight beam cut through the darkness, casting long, wavering shadows on the walls. At the top of the stairs, Fiona noticed something out of place. An old portrait of her great-grandmother, Lady Isabella, was askew. She adjusted it, revealing a hidden panel behind it. Her breath caught in her throat. Could this be the vault her uncle had alluded to? Fiona's mind raced. She needed to find the key or mechanism to open the panel. Returning to the study, she scoured the room for any clues. The manor seemed to close in on her with each passing moment, its silence amplifying her mounting anxiety. Just as she was about to give up, the lights flickered and went out, plunging the manor into darkness. The storm outside roared, making the old house groan and creak as if it were alive. Fiona's flashlight beam danced nervously across the room, revealing shifting shadows that seemed to move of their own accord. A faint whisper, almost imperceptible over the storm, seemed to drift through the manor. Fiona's pulse quickened as she felt an unsettling presence. The manor, once a mere inheritance, now felt like a labyrinth of secrets and hidden dangers. As Fiona prepared to tackle the mystery, she knew that uncovering the vault was just the beginning. What lay hidden within it was a mystery that would test her resolve and unveil a deeper, darker truth about her uncle's life and the manor itself. With the storm raging and the house alive with shadows, Fiona steeled herself for the challenges ahead. The vault was waiting, and with it, the truth she was determined to uncover, no matter the peril that lay in wait. The storm showed no signs of relenting as Fiona Caldwell stood in the dimly lit study, her flashlight casting long, trembling shadows across the room. Her thoughts raced, piecing together the clues from her late uncle's journal and the hidden panel she had discovered. The old portrait of Lady Isabella still hung askew on the wall, revealing the hidden panel behind it. Fiona's mind was abuzz with questions. What was inside the hidden compartment? Why had her uncle concealed it so carefully? Determined to find out, Fiona returned to the study and began her search in earnest. She scoured the room, opening drawers and inspecting every nook and cranny, but the key or mechanism to open the panel eluded her. The tension in the manor was palpable, and the eerie sounds of the storm seemed to heighten her anxiety. Her search proved fruitless, and frustration began to mount. Just as she was about to give up, her flashlight beam fell upon an old desk in the corner of the room. It was covered in dust and seemed untouched for years. Fiona approached it with renewed determination. As she opened the desk drawers, she discovered a small, ornate box hidden beneath a stack of yellowed papers. The box was intricately carved with symbols she didn't recognize. Her heart skipped a beat. Could this be related to the hidden vault? Fiona carefully opened the box, revealing an assortment of old keys, a compass, and a faded map. The keys were old-fashioned and had various intricate designs. One key in particular caught her eye. It was smaller and seemed to have a unique engraving on it that matched the pattern she had seen on the hidden panel. With trembling hands, Fiona took the key and examined it closely. It seemed to fit the cryptic nature of the message in her uncle's journal. But before she could test it, a noise from upstairs jolted her. It sounded like something heavy had been moved or dropped. She hesitated for a moment, the rational part of her mind debating whether to investigate the noise or focus on opening the panel. Curiosity got the better of her, and she decided to check it out. The storm outside had intensified, making the old house groan and creak even more ominously. As Fiona climbed the grand staircase, her flashlight illuminated the darkened corridor. The noise had come from the end of the hall, where the old servants' quarters were located. The door to one of the rooms stood slightly ajar, and she could see a faint light flickering from within. Pushing the door open cautiously, Fiona stepped into the room. It was empty except for an old wardrobe that stood against the far wall. The flickering light was coming from a small lamp inside the wardrobe, and it seemed oddly out of place. With growing apprehension, Fiona approached the wardrobe and opened it. Inside, she found a collection of old, dusty clothes and a small, locked drawer at the back. The drawer had a keyhole that seemed to match one of the keys from the box she had found. Fiona took out the key and tried it in the drawer's lock. To her relief, it turned with a soft click. She opened the drawer to reveal an old leather-bound book, its cover worn and embossed with a strange symbol. Her heart raced as she opened the book, revealing handwritten notes and diagrams that appeared to be related to the manor's layout and hidden passages. Among the notes, she found a sketch of a room with a marked location, a room she recognized as being beneath the study. It seemed to indicate a hidden passage leading to an underground chamber. As she studied the book, the storm outside reached a fever pitch, and the old manor seemed to tremble with the wind. Fiona knew she was getting closer to uncovering the truth, but she couldn't shake the feeling that someone, or something, was watching her. With the book in hand and a newfound sense of determination, Fiona prepared to return to the study and investigate the hidden passage. The mystery of the vault was far from over, and she was about to delve deeper into the secrets her uncle had left behind. As she made her way back, she couldn't help but wonder what other revelations awaited her, and whether she was truly prepared for what lay ahead. the storm outside raged on with unrelenting fury, the wind howling and rain lashing against the manor's windows. Fiona Caldwell stood in the study, her heart racing as she reviewed the old leather-bound book she had discovered. The book's pages detailed an elaborate network of hidden passages beneath the manor, centered around a secret chamber marked on the sketch she'd found. With the flickering light of her flashlight casting eerie shadows, Fiona took a deep breath and prepared herself for what lay ahead. According to the book, the entrance to the hidden passage was directly beneath the study, concealed behind a panel that had been unlocked earlier. She knew that her next step was to find this concealed entrance and see where it led. Fiona approached the hidden panel behind the portrait of Lady Isabella. She carefully inserted the key she had found into the lock and turned it. The panel clicked open, revealing a narrow, dark passage. She shone her flashlight down the passage and saw that it was lined with old, cobweb-covered stone walls. She hesitated for a moment, the chilling draft from the passage sending a shiver down her spine. But her curiosity and determination outweighed her fear. Taking a deep breath, Fiona descended into the darkness, her flashlight illuminating the way. The passage was cramped and damp, the air thick with the musty smell of disuse. Fiona moved cautiously, the narrow passage twisting and turning as it led deeper into the manor's bowels. The walls were lined with old, rusted pipes and remnants of what might have been old storage areas. After what felt like an eternity of walking, Fiona reached a heavy, wooden door. The door was intricately carved with the same symbol she had seen on the book and the hidden drawer. Her pulse quickened as she realized she was nearing the end of the passage. With a deep breath, she pushed open the door. It creaked loudly, and the room beyond was bathed in a dim, dusty light from a single, ancient lamp hanging from the ceiling. The chamber was vast and cluttered, filled with old furniture draped in dusty sheets, stacks of old crates, and forgotten relics of the past. Fiona stepped into the room and immediately noticed something odd. A large, ornate chest stood in the center, its lid covered in a thick layer of dust. The chest was adorned with intricate carvings that matched the symbols from the book and the hidden drawer. Her hands trembled slightly as she approached the chest and examined it closely. It was locked with a combination mechanism, and the numbers were covered with a layer of grime. Fiona took out the book and scanned the pages, hoping to find a clue to the combination. After several tense minutes, she found a series of numbers that matched the combination mechanism on the chest. Her heart raced as she carefully dialed in the numbers. With a satisfying click, the chest unlocked. Fiona lifted the lid slowly, her breath catching as she revealed what was inside. The chest was filled with old letters, photographs, and a few valuable-looking artifacts. The topmost letter was addressed to her, in her uncle's unmistakable handwriting. With shaking hands, Fiona unfolded the letter and began to read. Dear Fiona, if you are reading this, it means you have discovered the hidden passage and reached the chest. My research led me to uncover truths that were far beyond my control and comprehension. The artifacts and documents within this chest contain evidence of a long-buried secret that has been the subject of many years of my work. The manor itself holds more than just physical secrets, it conceals a deeper, darker history involving betrayal and hidden alliances. You must be cautious, for there are those who would stop at nothing to ensure that these secrets remain buried. Trust no one, and remember that the truth is often more dangerous than ignorance. Yours sincerely, Oliver Caldwell. Fiona's mind raced as she processed the letter's contents. The words were both a warning and a clue, hinting at a larger conspiracy connected to the manor. As she sifted through the artifacts and documents, she came across a particularly intriguing item, a faded map showing another location within the manor. The map marked a specific area in the basement, an area that Fiona had not yet explored. The implication was clear: there was more to discover. Her resolve hardened. She knew she needed to investigate further, but she couldn't shake the feeling that she was not alone. As she prepared to leave the chamber and head to the basement, Fiona glanced around, sensing a presence, or perhaps just her own growing paranoia. The manor seemed to pulse with secrets and danger, and she was determined to uncover the truth, no matter what the cost. The storm outside continued its relentless assault, mirroring the turmoil within Fiona's mind. With the newly discovered map and a sense of urgency, she set out for the basement, ready to face whatever awaited her in the darkened depths of the manor. The storm outside had reached a crescendo, its fury battering the manor's windows with unrelenting force. The wind howled through the empty corridors, and the rain poured down in torrents, adding to the oppressive atmosphere that seemed to envelop Fiona Caldwell as she made her way to the basement. The ancient map she had discovered in the chest led her to a section of the basement that she had never explored. Her flashlight flickered as she descended the creaking staircase, casting erratic shadows on the stone walls. The basement was colder and damp, the air thick with the musty smell of mildew and decay. Fiona reached the bottom of the stairs and found herself in a large, dimly lit room filled with old storage racks, dusty furniture, and broken crates. The map indicated that the entrance to the hidden labyrinth was hidden behind one of the walls in this room. Her flashlight beam swept across the walls, searching for any sign of a concealed entrance. She noticed a section of the wall that appeared different, more irregular than the rest. Fiona approached it and began to examine the area closely. After a few minutes of probing, she discovered a faint seam along the wall. With growing anticipation, Fiona pressed against the seam and felt it give way slightly. It was a hidden door, cleverly disguised. She pushed it open with a groan of ancient hinges, revealing a dark passageway beyond. The passage was narrow and winding, with rough stone walls that seemed to close in on her. Fiona moved carefully, guided only by her flashlight and the distant sound of the storm outside. The passage twisted and turned, leading her deeper into the bowels of the manor. Eventually, the passage opened up into a large, underground chamber. The chamber was filled with shelves lined with old books, strange artifacts, and dusty scientific equipment. The air was heavy with the scent of old paper and forgotten knowledge. Fiona's eyes were drawn to a large table in the center of the room, covered with open books and scattered papers. A massive, ornate mirror stood against one wall, its surface covered with a thick layer of grime. The mirror was adorned with intricate carvings that matched the symbols she had seen in the book and the hidden drawer. As Fiona approached the table, she noticed an open book lying atop it. The pages were filled with diagrams and notes detailing experiments and studies related to the manor. It appeared to be a journal of some sort, and as she flipped through it, she found references to a mysterious experiment her uncle had been working on. The journal detailed a series of experiments involving a rare and powerful substance that seemed to have mystical properties. The experiments were conducted in secret, and the journal hinted at the existence of a hidden room that held the final results of the experiments. Fiona's attention was drawn back to the mirror. She noticed that the carvings around it were arranged in a pattern that seemed to match a series of symbols in the journal. Could the mirror be a clue to finding the hidden room? She carefully examined the mirror and discovered that it could be adjusted. She began to rotate and tilt it, aligning the carvings with the symbols in the journal. With each adjustment, the mirror seemed to shift, casting strange reflections and creating an unsettling atmosphere. Finally, with one last adjustment, Fiona heard a faint click. The wall behind the mirror slid open to reveal a hidden door. She felt a rush of adrenaline as she pushed the door open, revealing another dark passage beyond. The passage led to a small, dimly lit room. In the center of the room was a pedestal, upon which rested a small, ornate box. The box was adorned with the same symbols she had seen throughout the manor. Fiona approached it with a mix of excitement and trepidation. As she reached for the box, she heard a sudden noise behind her, a soft, almost imperceptible rustling. Fiona turned sharply, her flashlight revealing nothing but shadows. She felt a chill run down her spine. Was someone else here with her? With the box in hand, Fiona decided it was best to leave the hidden labyrinth and return to the study. The storm outside was still raging, and the eerie atmosphere of the manor was beginning to take its toll on her nerves. She carefully made her way back through the passages, her mind racing with the implications of what she had found. Once back in the study, Fiona set the box down on the desk and took a deep breath. She needed to open it and see what secrets it held. But as she reached for the box, she couldn't shake the feeling that the storm outside, and the secrets within the manor, were about to reveal something far more dangerous than she had anticipated. The storm outside showed no signs of letting up as Fiona Caldwell stared at the ornate box she had brought back from the hidden labyrinth. The manor seemed to pulse with a life of its own, the wind howling and the rain lashing against the windows, adding to the oppressive atmosphere. With trembling hands, Fiona prepared to open the box, eager to uncover its secrets. The box was adorned with the same symbols that had appeared throughout the manor, the symbols that had led her on this perilous journey. Fiona carefully lifted the lid, revealing a small, intricately designed key and a folded parchment. Her heart raced as she picked up the parchment and unfolded it. The parchment contained a map of the manor, with a new section marked in red ink. It depicted a hidden chamber deep within the manor's foundations, a chamber that had not been previously revealed in any of the documents she had found. Alongside the map were handwritten notes, detailing the final steps of her uncle's research. As Fiona studied the notes, she realized that her uncle had been involved in something far more sinister than she had imagined. The notes revealed that Oliver Caldwell had been conducting experiments involving an ancient and powerful artifact, one that was rumored to grant immense power. The artifact was hidden in the final chamber, and her uncle had been trying to unlock its secrets for years. With the key in hand and a sense of urgency driving her, Fiona made her way to the basement once more. The new map led her to a section of the manor she had not yet explored, the dark, foreboding part of the foundations that seemed untouched by time. She followed the map's instructions, her flashlight beam cutting through the darkness. The air was cold and damp, and the sense of dread grew stronger with each step. Finally, she reached a large, reinforced door embedded in the stone wall. The key she had found fit perfectly into the lock, and with a deep breath, Fiona turned it. The door creaked open, revealing a vast underground chamber. The chamber was filled with ancient relics, strange symbols, and a large pedestal in the center. Atop the pedestal rested the artifact, a beautifully ornate, golden object radiating a strange, otherworldly glow. Fiona approached the pedestal with caution, her eyes fixed on the artifact. As she drew closer, she felt a sudden, intense heat emanating from it. The artifact seemed to pulse with a life of its own, and Fiona could sense a powerful force contained within it. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows of the chamber, Lucas Brantley, a former colleague of her uncle, whom she had met briefly during her investigation. Lucas's face was a mask of determination and greed. "Fiona," Lucas said, his voice cold and calculated. "I see you've found the artifact. It belongs to me." Fiona's heart pounded as she realized the danger she was in. Lucas had been following her, and his intentions were far from noble. She had to act quickly to protect the artifact and herself. "I don't know what you're planning, Lucas, but this artifact is too dangerous to fall into the wrong hands," Fiona said, trying to keep her voice steady. Lucas smirked, pulling out a small, concealed weapon. "You don't understand. The power this artifact holds is beyond your comprehension. I've been waiting for this moment for years." Fiona's mind raced as she looked around the chamber, searching for a way to outmaneuver Lucas. She noticed a series of levers and mechanisms along the walls, likely part of the security measures her uncle had put in place. With a sudden burst of courage, Fiona dashed towards the levers, trying to activate the security systems. Lucas lunged at her, but she managed to pull one of the levers just in time. The chamber's walls began to shift and move, creating a maze of obstacles. Lucas's face twisted in frustration as he tried to navigate the changing chamber. Fiona seized the opportunity and made her way back to the pedestal. She carefully picked up the artifact, feeling its power coursing through her. She knew she had to get out of the chamber and destroy the artifact before it fell into the wrong hands. As she made her way back through the labyrinth, Fiona heard Lucas's furious shouts behind her. She navigated the twisting passages and finally emerged into the basement, her heart racing with the effort. With a final burst of energy, Fiona climbed the stairs and made her way outside, where the storm had begun to subside. She knew she had to destroy the artifact to prevent any further danger. She found a secluded spot in the manor's grounds, and with a heavy heart, shattered the artifact, releasing its power in a controlled explosion that rendered it harmless. As the first light of dawn began to break through the clouds, Fiona stood amidst the ruins of the artifact, feeling a sense of relief and closure. The manor, though still old and mysterious, felt less threatening. The secrets it held had been uncovered, and the danger had been averted. Fiona took one last look at the manor before turning away. She had faced danger and uncovered hidden truths, but she was ready to leave the past behind and start anew. The storm had passed, and with it, the shadows of the manor seemed to lift, allowing Fiona to step into a new chapter of her life. Thank you for subscribing to our channel. You are awesome.